Hello, hello, and welcome. My name is Dina Beth, and I'm with the Queen Within. I am so delighted to have another, I don't know what to call this, like a fireside chat again. I set up this last week and had a wonderful time sharing, and I wanted to do this again. It was fun. So, welcome, welcome. It's a beautiful summer evening, and I'm enjoying this lovely crickets and the sunset, of course. And then I kind of have to set up the fire, the lights, so that you can enjoy this with me. So thank you for being here. If you're coming in live, please enjoy and let me know you're here. Let me know where you're coming in from. If you're coming in on the replay, I would love for you to type replay here in the chat so I know that you're coming in later after the fact. So feel free to type in your questions. We are going to be talking about ways that you can really support yourself and creating more happiness in your relationship and remembering that love can last. I think a lot of us wonder, is it possible to have a lasting relationship? Is it possible for it to be happy and not just enduring to the end of whatever misery we can create for ourselves in relationships? Because they start out so amazing and then things get work. They're just the work sets in. I have been married to the love of my life for 31 years. And I'm also a Tony Robbins certified. Hello, Vicki. So nice to see you. Welcome, welcome for being here with us. I love your share, by the way. And Charlene Gregor, welcome, welcome. So happy to have you with us. So I believe in relationships. It is absolutely the joy of my life to talk about them. And it just lights me up to be able to share some of the knowledge I have spent, gosh, well over a decade of my life, probably 18 years, studying this topic. It is so fascinating to learn about ourselves, learn about men, find out what's possible. And I believe that my job is to influence us in really looking at ourselves in a different light and seeing men in a different light and also seeing marriage in a different light. And I believe once we do that, we can really find out what's possible for modern marriage. I believe modern marriage is set. The stage is set for us to be able to invite. Well, I got critters. The lights are attracting. The stage is set for us to set up what I call the marriage partnership, and to learn about this topic is life-changing on so many levels. Welcome, welcome, Lori. So happy you're here. So for those of you that are looking for more happiness, for those of you that know someone who's looking for happiness, maybe struggling in their marriage, please inbox this to them. So let me just like type, like grab the URL, pop it in their inbox, because nobody wants to be like brought this out in public. It's always a private matter. But I would love to help those of you that are looking for ways to really interact with your partner differently. So some of the little notes I have about this is really men can be very frustrating. Like we often feel ignored. I don't know if have you ever been ignored when a guy was like staring at his screen on his phone, watching TV, staying at work too late, he's eating his food. He just feels like he's ignoring us, right? And if you never, ever, ever the rest of your life never want to be ignored again, send me an emoji in the chat that tells me what it feels like to be ignored by men all the time, because I know it feels like they're ignoring us. But if you're ready to never, ever, ever be ignored by a man again, let me know, because I have the secret. And I love sharing it because it will absolutely change your life. I mean, it's amazing how different that we are wired than the men in our lives, and how different that they see the world, and how much difference it makes when we can just slow it down and recognize that there is just a different setup here, a different way of seeing the world. I got little critters coming through, so I have to forgive me if I brush them off. So yes, being ignored by men is a big one, and it really does cause a lot of discontent and unhappiness in our life, because it feels like, he's either looking at this other lady, and if she was, if we were just more shapely, if we had the right bod, if we were more beautiful, if we were more something, then he would not ignore us. That's kind of the story we like to tell ourselves. I don't know if you've ever told yourself that story before, but it's almost like we have a story that if I was something more, then he would not be ignoring me. Have you ever thought of that before? Well, that's also completely a myth. And for us to unravel some of these myths can completely change our experience of men, completely change our experience of ourselves. And we start finding out there's a lot of happiness to be had in marriage, a lot of joy to be had in the journey. And if we can start recognizing that they really don't have the capacity to ignore us, it is mind-blowing how that can change things up. So I just invite you to really recognize this absolute truth, is that the life with a married partner can be wonderful, can be happy, can, absolutely, the love in your partnership can last, and that relationships absolutely can bring you so much joy when you know the secrets, when you know the little, methodology to it all. So we often have stories about like, well, when should we, when do we get his attention? How do we get him to show up the way we need him to? What's interesting about that little scenario is how often we have this kind of strategy that we use to get attention, to get him away from his phone, or stop staring at the television, or, focus on us while he's eating. And what's so interesting about these strategies that we use is they almost every single time fail. And what's even more fascinating about us is that we feel that the reason why they failed is not because of the strategy, but because there's something wrong with us. Like we blame ourselves because our strategy didn't work. Like if we were just like really hot or incredibly something different than we are, then the strategy would have worked. And this interesting phenomenon can create more drama and conflict in our life than we can imagine. If any of you have a story, please share. I mean, if you can just see it, like at the, the dinner table or at the restaurant, he's totally ignoring me, and I'm just so upset and hurt, and I'm feeling like, how could he do this? We're finally getting a chance to be together, and all he wants to do is look on his phone, or all he wants to do is, keep looking over my shoulder at some sexy broad across the way or whatever, and it just freaks us out. Like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna lose my mind if he keeps doing that. This is our time, right? So what's interesting is that, we often see men like treat different women like differently. Like some women he treats like, his sister, and some women he treats like, he completely ignores them, and other, girls or ladies he can treat like barmaids, and other women he can treat like queens. And I believe that the recipe for our happily ever after lies in one secret, and that is how to get our man to treat us like a queen. And what do we do to sustain that? And it doesn't look like strategy. It looks like information. We need insights. We need awareness. We need reminders. We need, the juice that makes for a lasting, sustainable scenario where he is absolutely showing up for us the way we know he can. And what I know is that nagging doesn't work. I don't know if have you ever tried nagging? Maybe you could put some kind of emoji, like a poop emoji, because it never works. I mean, every time I nag or criticize or complain, I never get results. And I always get the exact opposite, like more disconnect, more distance. And it's never what I hoped it would be. I never create more joy in my relationship or my life when I am frustrated. Hello, Sophie. Welcome, welcome. So glad you're here. So yeah, just say hi. Send me a little something in the chat so I know, you're still with me. But what we all need is real, practical, and useful information when it comes to men. We need to understand why they behave the way they do, why we feel ignored by them. And to find out they don't know how to ignore us is so cool. This is why. Would you like to hear why? Send me like a number 1 in the chat if you want to know why it is that we feel ignored by men and what we can do about it. And like, what is the secret sauce that makes it so that we never have to feel ignored by a man again? This stuff is so awesome. It makes the biggest of difference in all of our, relationships and interactions, and the way that we perceive what's going on. And amazingly, how we get our needs met shifts when we recognize these basic things. So for those of you that are watching on the replay, shoot me a replay in the chat, and also remember to type a 1. And remember, if you know someone in your your realm, maybe you have a friend, a sister, mom, somebody in your world that is just really looking for some encouragement right now. Maybe she's feeling lonely, like she would love to have someone to talk to. Maybe just grab this your URL and just drop it in her inbox so she has a chance to hear this. It might just be the very ticket that can give her some peace of mind and some reassurance that, hey, there is some answers out there. There is solutions. There is like a way to navigate through some of this like difficult conversational frustration that has to do with men. I was sitting in my car and these girls walk by, and I'm like, oh, if I could just have 10 minutes of your time, I could solve all of that drama in about 5 seconds, because it really is that easy. when we understand what's going on the other side of the line. It's simple. It's really not rocket science, is what I like to say. Is it's not as difficult as we make it out to be. And it looks like Austin's with us. Ah, look at that! What a treat! So nice to see you. How are you doing, beautiful? What a treat to have you with us. So what we want to remember is that the love life of your dreams is absolutely possible. And it really comes from knowledge. It really comes from insights and resources and awarenesses that really get us tuned into our own, like, wherewithal, like what is going on in us that is kind of driving some of the behavior around us. Because the truth is that men are single focused. They are only eating, they are only driving, they are only looking at the TV. They're only, and when we're trying to like use a strategy to pull them away from that, they're just getting frustrated because they're focused. They're on this thing right now. And for us to try to like pull them away from that is it just creates drama, right? Yeah. I don't know if your guys like mine, but it just like, it never works. So what we have to learn to do is find why that is true and recognize that it is true because they're wired that way. Doesn't mean every single man, because there are men that are what we call have the diffuse awareness that women have, and sometimes there's like a flop with that. Like the woman is very much the single focus, and the man is very much the diffuse awareness. It's absolutely possible to have that all, you know, different. We're all different, but generally we see this. So hello, thanks for saying hi, and I appreciate your hellos. So yes, the joy of understanding this basic piece can really make a difference in, wow, he just focused on one thing at a time, and also recognizing that how he perceives you. And I was talking to a gal yesterday, and she was saying, the word queen just doesn't set with me. I don't understand what that means. So I wanted to just have us take a moment and look at that and recognize that if we were looking at a chessboard and you were looking at the queen on the chessboard, remember how powerful she is. Remember how much she is like the kingpin, in the sense, the most important. Like, who doesn't protect their queen on a chess game? I mean, she's the most important player. She can do anything. She has more span, more capacity, more, ability to move around than any other player on the board. And everybody's trying to protect her. So what does that tell you about you? So when I say queen, that's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about this incredible power that we often don't see or recognize or acknowledge, because I'm not sure what that little twinkling was. But it's like we just really need to get it. The guy just kind of has this little one, he can move one space, but we're over here like taking over the board, and we have like the ability to go any direction and do amazing feats. And so to recognize that when we lose our, when a guy loses his queen, or when a game loses the queen, it almost feels so, like defeated, like it's the end, like there's no more. So if that was true, and you were the most important and the one that he wanted to protect the most, your partner wants to protect you. He wants to provide for you, wants to make sure that you're happy, because you're the one that lights up his world. Without you, he feels defeated. He feels kind of like a zombie walking around. My son is just like drooping because of the situation in his life, and I'm like, oh, it's just so painful, because it wasn't very long ago, he was lit up like a Christmas tree. His whole world was just so like, he had purpose, he had direction, he had like a sense of like knowingness about what his life was for. And he talks a lot about service and providing, and because he knows his job. And when a man doesn't know that, of course we can support them in getting that, a little more clarity there, or we can find a different guy. But ultimately, that's what they're wired to do. They're wired for this stuff. And when we can show up as our best selves, which is what I call the queen, then we are getting more of that than less of that, which is always the joy of really owning this work. So what I know is that there are some incredible tools that are available to us as women, and they're powerful tools that can help us achieve more love, more connection, and more joy in our relationships. And that is what I'm about. I love, love, love seeing you getting these answers. One of the things I wrote down yesterday that just is like stuck with me. So I was still in my paper. I'm just like scribbled this out, but it's like, oh my gosh, this is me. And it was basically that I rage about what modern marriage can be, what it could be, what it should be, what I feel is possible. And I just feel like it's the deepest depths of my soul that there is this like this marriage slash partnership possibility that we haven't really even explored yet. Got my paper in front of my lights and who knows what else going on here. But my controversial ideas, I really have some ideas that are kind of controversial, and that's totally fine with me. I prefer it that way. I'm just, let's go with this. I want them to influence the way we view men, the way we view marriage, and the way we view ourselves. And I believe this is a, what we're all about here, and what we're ready to like take on to the next level as a group, as a tribe, if you will, as a an incredible powerhouse group of women that are ready to see what's possible in marriage. What is possible in this relationship? How can I take this to the next level? How can I move beyond this, used to be like a little bump in the road. Now it's a roadblock. We get those in our relationships and they get in the way of moving forward. And as I was mentioning, and I heard from our dear friend here, that's here with us is, we start out kind of with little bumps and pretty soon they're just roadblocks that just get in the way of what we want more of and what we want next and what we really, really want. And there's so many ways that we can have that happen. I mean, we just get our feelings hurt. I mean, I was telling my son a few minutes ago, I'm like, I have had my feelings hurt for a long time. And there are things that your dad does. And when he pulls the book out to start reading, I just get offended and hurt. And I go back to the same story that I've been telling myself for umpteen years. And I don't want to hear anymore because I feel like he's trying to justify some things that he did way back when. And I'm not going to hear it. I'm not going to be part of that. I don't know if you recognize this behavior, but it's like we get stuck in this like this, I don't know, like what is the record that just kind of keeps going around and around. We all do it, and it's so real. And what I love about the work that I'm engaged in is that I can recognize that that's what's playing out, and I don't have to like really like build a big story around that till it's so big that it just now overtakes the relationship and destroys it. And, I mean, it doesn't need to crumble because of this one thing that is so uncomfortable for me when he starts to read a certain book or a certain topic or whatever. I get a all in my whatever. It's because there's hurt feelings there. And what I love is helping us unravel those. We deserve to have support in unraveling those hurt feelings. They're considered like core wounds, and they just tend to kind of stick with us for a long time. I imagine you know what I'm talking about because we all have them. They're just so real in the journey. So what I have is a Happy Homes and Hearts group that I'm reviving, bringing it back to life from last year. When I originally set it up, I had a lot of speakers coming in, and I'm really just kind of remodeling that whole world because I know that there's women out there that have incredible stories. And my love, love, love is relationships that are working, relationships that are lasting. And every time I see another post about somebody's amazing anniversary, I'm like, oh, I would just love to talk to you about what's working. Share your stories. And that's kind of where I'm wanting to head with that. So if you are not part, and I know Austin is, if you're not part of our Happy Homes and Arts group, you'll want to join in because I know that it's meant to serve in a deep way some of these incredible ladies out here that are ready for something more. And what I know is that there's a little something for everyone in there. It's free, of course. It's easy to find as Happy Homes and Hearts on Facebook here, and I'll be happy to drop the link here in the chat. And then just know that anytime you join, I love being able to set up sessions personally with me so we can have one-on-one and get to know each other a little bit more and see how I can serve you better. And then, of course, I can't wait to have that one-on-one time with you because that is truly my joy to get a feel for what it is you're looking for. What are your needs? What is your personal situation looking like? And how can we get to the bottom of how that can be remedied, supported, lifted? And as a bonus, if you want to screenshot your, joining up and send that to me, I would be more than happy to give you a little bonus treat that I have saved for those of you that are willing to share that out and let folks know that you are jumping in on the Happy Homes and Hearts team and you're wanting to be part of our group, because I believe it absolutely is a movement. I believe it's something that there's so many women out there that are looking for like a group, like a friendship, like some camaraderie around, really getting over this story that I talk about often. And that is that, like, well, once upon a time we were oppressed and now we're going to oppress. I just believe there's like a way around that whole drama scene, and what we want to really come to as a group, as a team, is that, what if there's a way for us to build one another up and be built up and come from a partnership? You matter, I matter, we're a team. Let's take care of each other. Let's look out for each other. Let's get each other's back and, hold each other's back and really be there because we understand each other. I mean, how can we love someone if we don't even understand them? So I believe this is a really, really important mission that I've been called to carry out and accomplish. That's why I'm here every Wednesday, every Saturday to serve on this level, and I intend to continue that even if it's in the middle of the night and I'm setting up lights. So whatever it takes, I'm ready to do whatever I need to do to be there for you and serve you on this level, and I'm excited to be there for your friends, your family, your sister, your colleague, because there are so many women out there that really are looking for an answer. Yeah, there's a lot of hate groups, a lot of, I just call them men haters because they're rampant, and we all have men hating stuff going on inside. I mean, I do. I'm still working on it. I've been working on it for a couple of decades, but I just know there's a better way. There's a better way to bring out the best in ourselves, and there's a better way to bring out the best in our partner. So that's what I'm here to support you with, and I'm excited to have you with our group, Happy Homes and Hearts. If you know somebody that wants to join, just shoot them on over that way. Link them in, or like tag them, or maybe just let them know that, hey, this is a really great offer for you to get involved in this, because it's a movement that I intend to take as far and as wide as humanly possible. So thank you so very kindly for being here tonight. I'm so excited to be able to serve you and see this start to take off and move in a direction that really serves all of us and really moves us from where we've been to where we want to be, which is into sustainable, happy, healthy relationships and lifestyles that really serve our best good. So looking forward to talking more soon. Have a beautiful night. Take care. Bye-bye.